Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the Two-Tone Murphy channel. I'm Gibbo and you're very welcome to yet another Microsoft Flight Simulator QuickFix video. Folks, this is the last QuickFix video of the year and boy are we leaving it with a bang. This is going to be a good one, trust me. I think the phrase game changer is overused. Everything's a game changer these days. But folks, this is truly going to change things forever. It really is. And I'm of course talking about cloud gaming. Now, the use of cloud for gaming is nothing new, right? You know, we hit download on games, on add-ons, on sceneries, on aircraft, and we don't physically own them. We don't physically possess them. In fact, many of us wouldn't have a physical copy of the sim. You know, we get it as a download. So the use of the cloud, and of course, Bing Maps, you know, we don't have all the scenery locally on our machine. We stream it and we use the cloud for a lot of the epic scenery and content that's available within the sim. So that's not new. But what about hardware? So today, for many of us, we have a monitor and a PC, or a TV and an Xbox, and we use those to connect to the sim and even enjoy other games, of course, too. What about if the hardware itself was actually removed out of the equation and you use those screens via the internet to connect to the horsepower of a PC or an Xbox type device that's remote, that's somewhere else, and the power of the internet actually is what allows you connect to them, and that compute power and that horsepower that we have that sits in our equipment today is located somewhere else, and frankly someone else's problem. That's what cloud gaming is. Now, there's a couple benefits to it, and I'll be brief here. I won't bore you to death. Accessibility is absolutely huge, right? The fact that you'll be able to use this on any device at any time. And what I mean by that is you're in a hotel. If there's a device there, you could literally use that via a browser, connect into your cloud PC, and away you go. Ease of use, I mean, as I say, it just works. You know, there's no setup, no tinkering, no installation of Windows. It just works, and very minimal technical issues that I've seen. Speed, I mean, you will get faster speeds than you can possibly imagine in a residential setting, at least, because you're using fast data centers that are located by a cloud gaming provider. Cost, I mean, by my calculations, for a provider that I'm about to show you in this video, it would take 8 years for you to equal the cost of an average spec gaming PC. 8 years! That's incredible. And reliability, so things like hardware failures that we deal with normally, things like having to do hardware upgrades and trying to find GPUs. I mean, we've all been there, right, this year? That's no longer an issue if you're to use a cloud service. You could just click a tick box on a screen and boom, you've got extra hardware ready to go that's available for your cloud machine and cloud instance. I mean, that's just phenomenal. So there's many benefits indeed for the cloud for sure. So folks, one of the things I think that immediately you might be all thinking, but Gibbo, don't you need good internet? Well, I was surprised actually. The globally average download speed for fixed broadband I thought was quite low, but it actually turns out it's about 105 megabits per second, which is plenty fast for what we might be interested in doing, which is gaming on that cloud PC. So you can see where I'm going with this. What about Microsoft Flight Simulator? What about Microsoft Flight Simulator on a cloud gaming PC? What would that look like, and what's the experience like? Well, folks, sit tight. It's really good. So folks, just before I jump into the sim, and I will be jumping into the sim in just a moment, I did want to let you know that I've been doing my research here on providers, and there's tons of different providers, just a fraction of which I've listed on screen here. These will probably be, I think it's fair to say, the main ones. To fly through them real quick, Maximum Settings is a Canadian provider. They do come highly rated, however they're at full capacity, have been for quite some time, so that's been a shame. Paperspace seems good, but it's on the upper end of the cost here. It's about 55 euros a month for the spec that you might be interested in, so kind of rule that out. AWS and Google Cloud, yeah, you need a PhD to set them up, quite honestly. It's not for the faint of heart. GeForce Now, that does seem interesting. They're partnering with Steam Cloud to provide gaming via the cloud. Microsoft Flight Simulator is not a supported game at the moment. Xbox cloud gaming. Yes, so Microsoft have promised Microsoft Flight Simulator will be coming to the Xbox cloud gaming platform. It could be as soon as 2022, so we'll look forward to that. The only problem is that you'll need the Xbox app to access it, and to use the Xbox apps, well, you need an Xbox or a PC, which kind of defeats the purpose a little bit in my opinion. Which leaves Shadow, and Shadow's the one that we're going to check out together right now. Folks, it's good. It's really good. So this is Shadow. It's available at shadow.tech. So we'll scroll down and take a look together at some of the specs. So you can enjoy high resolutions and high frame rates up to 60 FPS at 4K or 144 FPS at full HD, ultra low latency. You can bring your own gear. So what it means by that is it will actually act as pass-through for your USB devices straight to the cloud PC, which is pretty good. And it's a PC that's available on the cloud, meaning you can do what you want with it. You want to do video processing, you want to do content creation, you want to play any game you like, including Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's as though it's your PC just located somewhere else, so you can do what you wish with it. Yeah, so requirements, let's have a look. It says that you need at least 15 megabits per second. Now, let me tell you about the specs that it provides. So here's the specs of the system that you will get. The GPU, GTX 1080. Now, I know what you're all saying. Well, that's nowhere near, that's old. That's nowhere near a 3080 or a 3090 that I'd want. Hang tight, wait until you see. Okay. Processor, it's got a 4-core processor, 12 gigabits of memory. It's got 256 gigs of storage. That's a fast SSD that comes with it. You can upgrade in increments of 256 gigs all the way up to 2 terabytes. And it has Windows 10. Windows 11, in case you're interested, is not yet supported. The cost for this, folks, is £30, €30, $30, and it has data centers pretty much spotted in each continent. So it's really simple to sign up. You literally click subscribe, go through your normal payment details, and you need then finally to download an application, which is a small lightweight client just to allow you gain access to your cloud PC, which will be set up literally a couple of minutes after you have subscribed. Now you have applications. Why don't I log in actually and I'll show you the applications. Makes a lot more sense just talking about them. So I will not save my password, thank you very much. All right, so in the applications we've got applications for Windows. These are the lightweight clients that you'll need to install. They're non-intrusive. They don't take up any compute of your local machine itself to access. This works on Mac. I'll show you that a little bit later. I have tested it. Android, tablets and phones. iOS, tablets and phones. I've tested that as well. I'll show you that in a little while too. It's got Ubuntu for Linux. Apple TV. I believe there's Fire Stick support as well. Which is just incredible, and I think I saw somewhere that it might even work on Android-based TVs as well. So phenomenal. Right, that's enough talking. Let me fire it up and show you what it's all about. So here's the app, and I'm not going to edit this away, right? So this might be a bit of a longer one, but I think you should get to see what the real experience is like in firing it up. So it has a launcher. Let me show you some of the settings. So the maximum bitrate, I have a decent internet connection. I might do a quick internet test just so you can compare it in a moment with the cloud version, the cloud experience I should say. I actually don't want it to adapt my bitrate, please. I'd like it to stay, I'd like my audio quality to be high. 265 sounds good. I'd like to prefer speed, and I want unlimited frame rate. My Shadow, yes, so use my USB devices on my Shadow. Keep my graphics drivers updated, yes please. Turn off Shadow when I'm closing the stream. I'll leave that off. I'd like it to perhaps keep running, even if I disconnect the stream. And that's a good way to think of it actually. It's kind of like Netflix, but just for PC access, for gaming. An interface, do I want to start? I want it full screen. I have a quick menu, and my language is English, of course. Folks, that's all the settings, so it's not complicated. You don't need a PhD to get this up and running. It couldn't be more straightforward. And to start it, well, you just hit start now. What it does in the background is it just double checks your speed is good. Look, I'm in. There was no boot up of Windows. I haven't pre-prepared anything in advance of this video. I genuinely haven't. Here we are, up and running. Let's have a quick look at this, at the specs, and make sure they are as we expected. Yeah, so it's a Xeon E5 2.5 gigahertz, 12 gigs of RAM, and we'll have a little look at the display settings, which I think you all might be interested in. I'm running it here as high a resolution as my monitor would allow. I've got an ultra widescreen monitor. That's as close to 4K as I think you can possibly get. I have tested this genuinely on 4K, as has Two-Tone Murphy himself too. And this is running at 60 Hertz. So let me show you that. There we go. All right. That's enough waffle. Let's get into actually the sim and what the sim is doing. So let's fire up Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I will edit this because Microsoft Flight Simulator takes a couple of minutes to boot up anyway, and then I'll be straight back. So folks, I'm back. I've actually changed my mind and we're going to do something while the sim is booting up. So first of all, the sim sound is coming through. Right, I have not done anything to make that happen. It just works. So the sound of the sim is coming through perfectly. You'll notice here that there is a quick menu, this little overlay, and there's a couple options. First of all, on the right lets us know how we're doing, so what usage we have, what our status of connection is, if there's any packet loss. At the moment I'm at 0%, which is excellent. What my FPS is, so that's looking good. A lot of the same settings as before. There's two new ones though. First of all is display. So there is my main widescreen monitor. You can enable dual screen. So if you do have a second monitor, you can click this and it will, so it actually has detected it. I won't enable it, but that can pop up too. So you can have it spanning multiple monitors, which is excellent. And the second thing I want to show you is USB peripherals. So here's where it's detected 8 peripherals for me, and to enable them you just simply click this tick box. Now I'll come back to this toward the end of this video and talk about this some more, but that's how you can pass through USB connected devices on your local machine into the cloud instance. So while we're waiting for the sim to boot up, I do want to show you one other thing, which is a speed test. So I am obviously connected to a data center that is in France, so let's see what we get. Oh, look at that. That's a gig down, folks. A gig down. I like it. Now, what's our upload speed like? Let's see. A 100 megabits up. So a gigabit download and 100 megabits upload speed. That's pretty good. So let's see how the sim is doing. We're getting there. We're getting there, folks. We'll be back when it loads up in just a moment. And we're back. Here's the sim up and running. I'm going to lower down the sim audio so it's not in the way. Folks, just to recap before we go any further, this is not my machine. I happen to be accessing it via my machine for purely to record this video. But let me show you this. If I go here, like, this is a window, right? That's on my PC. This is not running on my PC. All this compute, all the graphics of the sim is happening in a faraway country, you know, over the internet is how I'm accessing it. It's quite phenomenal. Anyway, let's carry on. I know what you guys are interested in seeing most. Let's go into general options and see what my settings are. So I'm running it at full screen on the highest resolution that my monitor physically can do, which is close to 4K at 3440 by 1440. Now render scaling is at 100. I know you should actually have it lower than that, about 80 or 90. For this test, we're going to crush it, folks. I know you want to see how it can perform, so we're going to crush it. VSync on. I could change this to 30, but no, I want to see what it can do beyond 30, so I'm going to go for 60. Now, of course, it goes without saying that based on your settings here will determine what your ultimate FPS is. So if you're looking for 60, lowering some settings here will help you achieve it. There's no doubt about it. I will not get 60 with the settings that I have, but then again, I wouldn't get 60 with the settings that I have on my 3080 that's actually in my local PC here. Just to fly through the rest of the settings, I've cranked them up, folks. I'm on ultra all the way. Train level detail 100. Ultra. It's all the way. As high as I possibly can. Just to give you guys a true to life experience, good or bad, as to what it's like. So, I'm going to go back. I'll apply that. And folks, of course, where are we going to fly? Goes without saying, doesn't it? New York City. Right, so let's jump in and take a look. So yeah, I'll go for 172, just to keep things nice and easy. And why don't I? Yes, let's go for New York City. We'll go straight in. We're gonna go to Manhattan, folks, because that is a true test, isn't it? That is a true test as to what it's really like. So Central Park says our departure. We're gonna go for, again, we're not gonna go for clear skies. We want to see what this is really like. You know, good or bad. So we'll go for some broken clouds. I will make it a bit brighter so that we can see what's going on. And that's it. Right, here we go. Fly. Okay. So I've enabled the FPS counter that's built into the sim, so you can see that. For some reason it wasn't coming across in the recording. We're using the game bar FPS counter. I'm going to click ready to fly. I'm going to lower down the sim. There we go, that's a bit better. And let's check this out, folks. So I am flying over New York City here, right? It's pretty dull. It's pretty dull. Now, you cannot get a better test than this, that is for sure. Now, how is it? Yeah, I'm getting 20 FPS. Okay. Well. First of all, how incredible is this? You know, no matter what the FPS is, this is working. You know what I mean? This is working. This is not my PC. This is located somewhere else. It genuinely took me 5 minutes to get up and running. Of course, I had to install the sim. That was just simply logging into the store and downloading the sim, and away I went. Look at the quality. Look at that, folks. You cannot get a tougher place than Manhattan, graphics-wise, in the sim. There's no question. So it seems to be around the 2120 mark. Probably was an unfair test with all the settings that I did, but like, look at this. Let's brighten it up a little, shall we? Just to see what it looks like. A bit brighter. Again, I think I really pushed, not just with the settings within the sim, but the weather and the location. But let's see what happens with clear skies. Go inside. Folks, that is just something else. Holy moly. 4K, 60 Hertz, settings fully cranked up, over New York City. I'm getting 30 FPS, folks. I'm getting 30 FPS. Do you know how incredible this is? I mean, this is a game changer. Think of, well, there's so many use cases. Think of the DC6 users who are dying to use the DC6 on the Xbox. I mean, well, they can now by doing something like this, finding an old crappy machine that's lying around somewhere that just needs the internet, installing the lightweight client, and here you go. I mean, you can, this is the PC, of course, so you can do all the mods, all the sceneries, all the add-ons, all the aircraft. Really, the limitations just get stripped away. So folks, you get the idea here. I mean, I could totally get this bumped up to 60 FPS, lower some settings in the sim itself, and bring it from ultra to high, maybe change the location, and I promise you could get 60 FPS. What an incredible experience this is. This is just blowing my mind. Hopefully you feel the same. I mean, I just find it unbelievable. Unbelievable. $30 FPS on a cloud gaming PC for £30 a month to get this level of quality over New York City. Wow, this is truly game changing. And you can see this is where the future's going, folks, whether we like it or not. I mean, we are seeing it today, as I said at the start. This is the future. Now, I need to charge my controller. Talk about preparation, Gibbo. I'll be right back in a moment. So I'm going to stop that because I do want to flick over and show you some other footage as well. Let me exit out of the sim. And what I'd like to show you is a bit of footage. If I get out of this and I'll shut down the cloud instance. It's a bit of footage of this working, Microsoft Flight Simulator working on a Mac. I mean, what? What? Yes. So let me find it. Here we go. And yeah, this is true, folks. This is really true. So we'll let that shut down. Here it is. So this is me installing it. This is it running. Here's the sim booting up. I'll fast forward this just a little bit further so we can actually see some flights. You can see what my frame rate is, what I was getting on a Mac. This is on my MacBook Pro. It's a little squished because of the resolution of the Mac, but it's alright. Let me have a little look at the settings that I was outputting on. Hopefully I went in and had a look. Well, let me flick through so you can see what it looks like. This is just to prove it is indeed running on a Mac. Microsoft Flight Simulator via a cloud PC running on a Mac machine. I never thought this was possible. Just unbelievable. So to actually do this, all that was needed to get it up and running on the Mac was the installation of the client that I showed you at the start, logging in with your credentials, and that was it. Straight into the same cloud PC instance as I've shown you here. There was no configuration needed. And away I went. Let me fast forward this a little more just so we can see some flying. Yeah, I think I did put on the FPS counter. Yes, just so you could see what I was getting. Again, this was at the ultra settings. It's a little squished. Don't worry about that too much. That's just showing the fact that I didn't work too much on my display settings to work perfectly with a laptop screen. Let me fast forward so we can see some flight. So again, ultra settings, above 30. And of course you can connect your Xbox controller to a Mac, no problems at all, Bluetooth, and use it perfectly. Just showing you the settings here, proving it is on a Mac indeed. And look at that, folks. Blows my mind. And what about a phone? Again, a phone. Now with an Xbox controller, again, you can indeed connect an Xbox controller to your phone. There we go, that's the app. Tapping start, loads it up. If I fast forward a little bit, there I am into the cloud PC. Let's see what it looks like with the sim up and running. Fast forward this a little bit so you can see it. And there's the sim running on my phone. Now, I showed you a video before about connecting back to your home Xbox using a phone or tablet to be able to play the sim. With this, you don't even need that. By the way, look at that FPS that I'm getting too. That's quite something. And here it is on my iPhone. It just works. That is just awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So folks, that's Microsoft Flight Simulator on a cloud gaming PC. Unbelievable. Now, what's my recommendations? Gibbo, you've been bigging this up the whole video. Would you recommend it? And no is the answer. No, I wouldn't. And bombshell. No, I wouldn't. And let me show you why. Well, let me preface that. I wouldn't at the moment. It is hugely impressive, hugely viable in certain circumstances. But I love my hardware. I love my Honeycomb Alpha. I love my Bravo throttle quadrant. I love my pedals. And I'm having problems with them. And it's really, really annoying. Let me show you very, very quickly what I mean by that. So if I jump back in, when I go to USB peripherals, it's detected 8 peripherals. I have a lot more than that, and it's not detected them. So as I scroll through this, my Honeycomb Bravo and Alpha are not on this list. They're not there to be found to enable to be able to use my hardware with it, which is so disappointing. And I've tried things, folks. I've tried drivers. I've tried uninstalling drivers. I've worked with Shadow support, who have now escalated the issue to their developers who are looking into it. I've installed a beta version of the app as well, which they promised would fix it, and it hasn't. And here I have my pedals. And take a look at this. So it has detected my pedals, which you might think, okay, well, that's at least sorted. So I tick that, forwarded, which is fantastic. You would think now I'd be able to use my pedals, but you know, it actually disconnects. It disconnects on me. Of course, it's not quite doing it here as I, to prove me wrong. But what happens is this disappears and then would reappear. So it connects and then disconnects. There, you saw it. It's gone. I haven't done anything. Now it's back. So you can see the hardware, the peripherals that us simmers use, at least mine, are a real letdown. Now, Two-Tone Murphy did test this as well, and he uses a HOTAS Warthog. A HOTAS Warthog, yeah. And it was the same thing. It was the same thing. It's so disappointing. I was beginning to think I was overloading USB buses. You can see it here, connecting and disconnecting, and it's so disappointing. I really thought we had a surefire winner. Now, that's the way it is at the moment. There is no doubt in my mind that Shadow and their team are working on this, that if it's happening for me, it's happening for many others as well, so it will be fixed. But until then, no, I can't recommend it because, we need our equipment, don't we? We need our hardware to work, and it just is a bit of a letdown at the moment with it disconnecting like this, or indeed not even finding the peripherals in the first place. So close, but look, who knows? It could be only around the corner before they sort this, and then, oh wow, then it might be a real viable option for us to, cut the cord on our PCs and our Xboxes. Who knows? So folks, that's it for today's video. I do really hope you liked it. We will be doing more videos on Shadow and on cloud gaming. So if you have any questions or anything in particular that you would like us to try out, please do leave a comment below and we'll be happy to do it and create another video in follow-up to this one. Please do give it a like if you found this video useful, and of course don't forget Two-Tone Murphy himself streams Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 2000 Zulu live on Twitch. It's tons of fun. Have a great new year, everybody. Happy 2022. Until the next one, we'll talk soon. You take care. Bye.